Hello everyone, so it's Mark Hotwood here, and I wanted to take the opportunity across social media just to pay tribute to the great aircraft behind me, the Boeing 747. Of course, many operators have flown the 747, but in particular British Airways. There's no less than 7 of the aircraft either behind me or elsewhere here on the airport, Cotswold Airport, Kemble. I've just come down really to have a look, pay my last respects. I've had some great experiences in my life on the 747. The aircraft type about as old as I am, nearly 50 years old, and I've had a huge amount of pleasure in travelling around the world, whether it's to Hong Kong or to India, the US, Canada and other places on the 747, mainly with British Airways but with other airlines as well, like Philippine Airlines, KLM, Cathay Pacific, Air Atlanta, and my very first 747 flight was actually with TWA back in 1979. And that's one of the aircraft there flying for TWA. But most of my flights subsequently as a child and growing up were with British Airways. I was a proud member, of course, I have to tell you these things, of the British Airways Junior Jet Club with my logbook recording flights on the 100 and 200 series aircraft that BA had across to Miami, Los Angeles, Washington, amongst other places. And I had a great experience when I started work flying on my own holiday by myself across the Atlantic to Washington when the captain made an announcement at Heathrow. I realized he's actually one of my neighbors who I knew very well, had a visit to the flight deck later in the journey, and then he invited me back to the flight deck, gave me a headset and sat me down in the jump seat for the approach and the landing into Washington Dulles Airport on one of the British Airways earlier 747 models. Great experience and really enjoyed that. But not just British Airways. I flew, lucky enough to fly with Philippine Airlines to Frankfurt and back a couple of times at the start of European holidays from Gatwick. KLM took me from Amsterdam to Hong Kong and back. Cathay Pacific, a couple of flights to Hong Kong, direct and via Paris as well. And one of the old British Airways 747s took me with Air Atlanta to Orlando, Sanford and back, and Virgin offered me a few 747 flights as well. And of course, it's not just about me and my hobby. My family have all flown on the 747 on various trips. Tanya and I got engaged in the US and flew back on a 747. We flew out and back for our honeymoon on a 747, and my daughters Coco and Heidi are pictured here in front of one of the BA 747s just before a family holiday last year. So I've always tried to squeeze a 747 flight in I can. I'm glad I did, as they've pretty much disappeared now. Sad days indeed, but reflecting on some happy memories for myself. So I hope that gives you an insight into my feelings about the 747. Very much the end of the line with British Airways and Virgin Atlantic taking the type out of traffic here in the UK. Of course, there's still some flying on freight and a few passenger aircraft as well, but I very much doubt many of us will be able to fly on a 747 in or out of a UK airport again. I'll leave you with a few final images.